for taking my call. Okay, so welcome to the call this week. I'd like to welcome everybody that's on the call, and I would certainly like to welcome Dr. Joseph Ahrens. He's a dual-nominated Nobel Prize scientist and the formulator of EMULIN and also 24/7. And we'd like to welcome him to the call. This is the very first call that we're having in this format of doing question and answers. So we thank those people that have sent in their questions. And I'd like to welcome you to the call, Dr. Ahrens. How are you today?
Hey, I'm just great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so we will get started, and please forgive me if I do not pronounce these words correctly. I'm going to try, but I'm hoping that Dr. Ahrens will be able to help me out. So these are questions that have been sent through. So one of them is through, the first one is through Nisi, and her question is in regards to high blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, weight management, but in regards to being overweight. Started with EMULIN C, taking 2 capsules, sometimes once, sometimes twice, feeling a bit stressed with colds and tired, is on some of the other products with Valentis as well, has arthritis. She's a 63-year-old female. She works from home and helps other people as well. But her question is that somebody like her that is slowly losing weight, what can you recommend? And comments, please, with going forward to be able to assist with the maintenance and all of these conditions that she's got. She is taking other products as well, but we're not going to mention those on here. I'm sorry. But just looking at weight management and then being able to manage the arthritis, cholesterol and glucose with EMULIN C. What are your suggestions, Dr. Ahrens, please?
Well, I think that's great that she's very proactive, and she's on the right track. I think that she probably should, I would take EMULIN M over C. She does not have too much of a problem with blood glucose levels. Seems like her focus is mostly on weight loss. EMULIN is not a weight loss product, but what it does is get your blood sugars in the right spot, and then there's a 1-to-1 correlation between blood sugar levels and being overweight. Most people that have high blood sugar do have high weight. I mean, you get this sugar just floating around in your bloodstream and it ends up in your fat tissue. What we want to do is get it into your muscle and your brain tissue. So I think she's doing a good job. I would go to EMULIN M. That's really will speed that up a little bit. Better weight management, 24/7, AM, PM. It's a good dose. Someone who, stay on 4 tablets a day, 4 capsules, 2 in the morning, 2 in the night. I actually take mine all at once. I don't have enough time to remember to take it in the evening or more. I just take them all in the morning. Once you get saturated, you don't need to worry about what time of the day. It stays in your blood, saturated level. So take 4, and I take the M.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. The second question is from Jim, and he's asking in regards to his kidney function was around 58% in 2007. It decreased to 48% 12 months later. In June of 2019, 42%. So here we are in October 2020, and it was at 25%. This kind of freaked him out, he said, and he was a bit confused, but he hasn't drank any alcohol for 5 years. He's probably 8% body fat, non-diabetic, has great blood pressure. He's currently using EMULIN, some of the other products with Valentis as well. And what he's wanting, he's lately, ironically, in regards to this, he's increased his vitamin D to 10,000 IU daily. He also must add that he's been doing 2 to 3 scoops of Valentis coffee. So his plan going forward was to actually up the EMULIN and the 24/7. And do you think that he should lay off some of the Valentis products that he uses due to the ingredients? Maybe too much caffeine in the stack of what he's dealing with? Or would you recommend that he take or eat something else? He's not quite sure. That the yearly downtrend that he believes in that has declined even recent in the last 4 months is largely due to a jack up of vitamin D, but that was just his thoughts. So he's just wondering what your thoughts are in regards to the rapid decrease in his kidney function over the last 3 years.
Well, first of all, we cannot be anyone's personal physician. I can't be your personal physician as much as I would like to. So let's get that clear. Also, I can't be giving you any direct medical advice. This is my opinion based on my experience. And certainly someone who's had continued kidney decline, you know, absolutely there's something going on here. The kidneys can operate down to a very low level, by the way. This is still actually not in a danger level. You go down to 20 or 10, but we want healthy kidneys. I wish I was there to figure out with some blood tests what exactly is going on. This individual's taken creatine, which is a molecule that helps your muscles rebuild, but it also does put a strain on the kidneys. Actually, the breakdown product of creatine is creatinine, and that's what they measure in your bloodstream to see if you are removing the creatine fast enough. As the creatinine builds up, it shows your kidneys are not functioning. And vitamin D, you know, that's the source of vitamin D action is in your kidneys, and to help with calcium issues, your kidneys and your liver, I should say. So I can't really make a dressed away. I'll just get there and give some tips. This is more of a personalized medical information. But let me make the general statement. No, I don't think these products are causing an issue. The caffeine will not cause this type of problem that you're having. Don't worry about it. It's good to everyone needs EMULIN. So if your kidneys are going to function at all, they will function their very best with EMULIN. Stay on the EMULIN. If 24/7 is good, but not necessary. Let's talk a little bit more behind the scenes with him.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So heading into another lady, so with Marcel, she had spinal surgery done at the beginning of the year, an ovarian cyst, and she has had that removed. So she has one ovary left. Since the surgery, she's been experiencing very heavy periods and has been experiencing lightheadedness, nausea, fatigue, anxiety. I just have to mute this person. Hopefully we have done that. Sorry. Nausea, fatigue, anxiety, and cold. But I feel like this week, before her periods, during a couple of days after a period, last 2 nights she slept waking up and had been feeling the same list as above, but a heart rate would be 57 to 130. And because she's just feeling with how shall she continue taking 24/7 an EMULIN right now, she's not sure if she has high blood pressure or borderline diabetes. So she wakes up and this is what her regime is. She's having 2 24/7 in the morning, 1 EMULIN M. She's having before breakfast, 2 EMULIN M at lunch, 1 before dinner, and then 2 24/7 of a night time. So wondering if this only happens during when she's about to get a period on the way to day 2 to 6, what you'd suggest, should she cut back or should she consider taking EMULIN C?
Well, this is absolutely a hormone problem. They're out of balance. She's got half of the ovarian tissue that she used to have, and also the evidence of during her menstruation. So, wow, you know, doing a virtual medical call, there's a place for that, but I think you need to get in and get some blood tests done. You need to have EMULIN C. You're taking the right amount. I actually would increase by maybe 2 more, 6. That's 6 a day. Then you will not have to worry about that blood pressure or that diabetes. So, man, you really need to get your blood pressure and your blood sugar checked. I hope that you can go in every now and then, but EMULIN will put that at bay. You'll be the most healthy. It doesn't matter when you take this EMULIN, you'll saturate your bloodstream. You don't have to 1 in the morning, 2 in lunch, and 1 in the evening if that's too difficult. Then just take them all at once. Now, as far as the 24/7 goes, I would even consider going up to 3 of the 24/7 AM in the morning and 3 24/7 in the evening. I think that'll help you deal with a lot of that stress that you're feeling because of this hormonal imbalance. And I wish you well, but there's a hormone issue here, and EMULIN does not cure anything. It'll make your body the best it can be, but you may end up having to have some hormonal replacement therapy.
Okay. So we've got a question from Suzanne. So she's just in regards to, she has a customer who's challenged with rosacea. What's your experience with using EMULIN for that, please?
Yeah, really good. Rosacea responds well according to a lot of the other autoimmune diseases. It's basically the capillaries become inflamed right at different places of the body, particularly on your flush, on your skin. It's an autoimmune response. And EMULIN has been shown to completely knock this out in most people. It does two things. It manages the immune system, which this is what's happening. That's why we call it inflammation. It looks inflamed. And it also causes the capillaries to be much more flexible. You'll actually might know in rosacea, they got actually the fracture of a lot of capillaries in the skin. You can see them, little bursted vessels. This will improve the health greatly of that. I would actually want to say, take the 24/7, but there's a product, you ought to also look at a product called citrus bioflavonoids. You can get this almost online anywhere. Take about 500 milligrams a day. This is not a Valentis product. I don't put this out, but I've studied it in the past. And I know that the flavonoids in citrus particularly will help with rosacea. 500 milligrams a day of citrus bioflavonoid complex.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you. The next question, we've got a young girl, and she doesn't have diabetes. She has diabetes and hypertension. She's 200 pounds plus and stands about 69 inches. Her mum is just wanting to know, like she's taking EMULIN M, will it help her lose weight? And is 24/7 carb burner okay for a 15-year-old?
Well, she's in a boat a lot of people are in. I understand this entirely. We just say, well, just exercise more. Well, you don't want to exercise. I'm going to point her in the direction more on 24/7. I'll say it again. Everybody needs EMULIN. Baby, I got an old fart my age and everybody in the middle. Everybody needs EMULIN. But 24/7 will actually help you control your eating. It will help you with your appetite. You'll sleep better at night. You'll be more alert in the day. You will get a really good health charge. We call this thing 24/7 carb burner. And initially, we were asked to put it together for people that wanted good weight management, but didn't want to take coffee, as an example. But it's really a very good, healthy product. And I think actually, Jackie, you could address that yourself. You'll say, yes, it really put it with EMULIN. You have a much more better, your body's just more healthy. And all of these products are very natural. They're not some weird thing from the middle of a Gobi desert or anywhere. Yes, a 15-year-old can take it. In fact, the only thing that they shouldn't take in there is if you're already drinking 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee a day, because the 24/7 does have caffeine in it, the same amount as one cup of full strength coffee. But that's it. I like caffeine, actually. It's got a very good health benefits. Yes, take it. Focus on 24/7. Take, start out with you. Take 3 of the AM in the morning and 3 in the evening. And then if that does all right, cut back to the 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. Don't get them mixed up. The red one, AM in the morning, the blue one, PM in the evening.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. We've got another question from Maureen. So it's in regards to gastroparesis, and she's taking EMULIN about 5 a day, and she's just wanting to know, should she change the dose because she's not getting the benefits that she's needing? So what are your suggestions in regards to possibly taking more and saturating for a period in time?
Well, there's 2 things here. One of them is, for people who don't know, this is where the muscles in the stomach don't have that smooth contractions and move the food through the body, and you end up with very poor digestion. I'm sorry for that. And sometimes you have to change your diet so that the food can move more easily through your stomach and small and large intestine. It's mostly a problem with the stomach, but it does also affect the intestines, just won't move along. First thing is, there is no known effect of EMULIN helping this problem. I'm sorry, I told you it doesn't heal anything, but you do need it because you're not getting enough. And in fact, your problem is you cannot digest it easily. You don't get that churning. And EMULIN is not easily get into your bloodstream. That's why we have to supplement. We just cannot get enough in our diet. I suggest you increase the EMULIN because you have a problem with digestion and the mixing. You know, the product has to get right next to the intestinal walls for it to get across that blood barrier where it can work, right at the lining of the stomach of the intestine. You just don't have enough churning going on. I know you've probably been told this. That's probably the problem. You're not digesting it well enough. You're not getting a good mix. And you might want to take the EMULIN and open it up and put it in something like grape juice or citrus juice and blend it in that. Therefore, you could get more easily into your body, would go more throughout your lumen. Try that. But, you know, go up. Yeah, some people need to take 10. I'm sorry. I wish it was less. Even if they do take 10, once the problem is solved, then they could work down to that maintenance amount of just a couple a day. Okay,
thank you. Next question is from Babs Merrick Phillips, and she's got a friend who's 47. He's male. He's always been fit and healthy. Symptoms for 2 years. He was diagnosed with, here we go, here's these words, panhypothyroidism, which causes hypothyroidism. He's been put on various medications. In September, he was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, is it? And diabetes insipidus. Also discovered he has negative antibodies. He's been admitted to hospital with blurred vision and other symptoms as well. He's currently on various amounts of medication, and he's wondering whether EMULIN would help his body fight this, in which seems likely the body has gone into inflammation overload, like you have explained, he is saying. So he's just wondering what your advice is for this, please.
Well, no doubt at all. This is a classic case that you know, your immune system has gone wonkers and you don't have enough EMULIN in your body naturally anyhow. It comes, I remind people, it usually comes from like very dark berries, primitive berries. We don't get enough of them. We can't get enough. There just doesn't exist in our modern diet. But you need a more idealized diet, and it would have a lot of fiber in it, and it would have EMULIN. I would crank it up, man, 10 a day. Of course, I can't be your physician. You have to take the advice. You have to take the advice and use it or not. You're in charge of your own health, but I would absolutely be taking a lot of EMULIN. You know, when we, this COVID business, it's on everybody's mind. We do not heal COVID. We do not tackle viruses. We support your body's immune system. And so some people are taking up to 10 a day just to be sure. And then when they're out of this tough time, they go back down to a maintenance dose. But you got a problem here on top of the immune system. Well, it's attacking. You got the same thing as if you had thyroid injury. I know that EMULIN will help hypothyroidism. And that's what you have, a disease that has led to hypothyroidism. You need to take EMULIN for that. And especially now because of your immune system is in a difficult situation, you need to take the EMULIN, and it should be EMULIN M, by the way, because the quercetin will help that muscle weakness.
Thank you. I think this one's quite straightforward, probably not for the person that's experiencing it, I'm sure, but this is from Jean, and said that he has been diagnosed with IBD Crohn's disease, or it's a friend actually, and has to take medication. She's in her early 40s with 3 children. This person has told this lady to take EMULIN C. And can you please just give them some direction in regards to what you believe that she should be taking in dosage for IBD, Crohn's syndrome, or disease, I should say?
Well, those are actually two different diseases, and the way they're diagnosed is one of them causes ulcers on the intestinal lining, and the other one is an irritation on the lining. And if you've got it, you don't care it's the same disease to you. Basically, raw inflamed tissue on the epithelial layer of the intestines. I personally had Crohn's disease 20 years ago, and got rid of it through, I was supposed to have surgery. I said, forget that stuff, and I had just discovered this thing. This is like 13, 14 years ago. So when 15, I just studied specifically for Crohn's. I would take the EMULIN M because quercetin is greater anti-inflammation. This is an autoimmune disease. It's rosacea, it's psoriasis, it's rheumatoid arthritis. It doesn't matter what the symptom is. The symptom is what we call the disease. I mean, it's a little crazy situation, how we diagnose diseases in this country and this world, but it's autoimmune disease. Your immune system has gone haywire. Your body is eating itself up, attacking it. And in the case like Crohn's, and IBS, certain foods coupled with emotion. Does that sound crazy? No, not for you, all you that have suffered these things, because you have emotions and it actually causes you to dump certain chemicals into your bloodstream. And if you are sensitive to something like Crohn's, you'll end up, your body will just start chewing itself up. So let's get the immune system under control. Take 8 or 10. Man, if I do that more before I got surgery, take 8 or 10 a day. And it doesn't matter when you take them, because it's not like it's working inside the intestine. It's not something that's inside your intestine working on the intestinal wall. It gets into your bloodstream. The problem is in the nucleus of every one of your cells. So it gets into your blood system. You saturate your blood system. I think you'll see a great improvement. Take 6 or 8 EMULIN M a day.
Okay, thank you. This was another question from Fabio, and I know I'm not going to pronounce this correctly. I did mention this to you yesterday, I think, but is it Pemmigus? Pemphigus?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's not too bad.
I have to spell it. So
that's
I told you I was going to have some troubles. You've got to humor me a little bit.
No, Pemmigus. So, okay, now you tell us what it is. Okay, you can tell us what it is. You know how to pronounce it. What is it?
Pemmigus.
Okay, so this is an autoimmune response. Amazing how it is really, most of the questions are about diseases that are autoimmune response. So in this case, you get little blisters all over you. And yeah, I feel for that, but it's like rosacea. So how come somebody gets this disease and somebody else gets rosacea, somebody else gets rheumatoid arthritis? Well, that's the fingerprint of who we are. In the inflammatory system, if it's even when it's functioning properly, the key up at the top, for those of you who want to know, tumor necrosis factor alpha is the general of the war. And he comes out and turns on all these other chemicals underneath him, his lieutenants and the privates, captains and lieutenants and privates. And this is the inflammatory cascade. And you put out a bunch of kinases, and each one of those are different according to your own genetics. It's almost like a fingerprint. So you might have the original problem of an runaway inflammatory system, an unregulated, unmanaged inflammatory system, but your response is going to be different. So we all have fingers, we all got fingerprints, but they're all a little different because of our genetics. And that's why some people that have an inflammatory problem will get arthritis, bronchitis, rheumatoid arthritis. Here we have these little bubbles that are on the surface. Absolutely see it, but to get to your skin, this is something that's kind of interesting. Now, I told you that it's in your bloodstream. That's where it needs to be. But we have two particular interesting things here. One of them that's important here is excess EMULIN migrates to your skin. So excess EMULIN migrates to your skin. So you get a 1-2 punch here. You get it into your bloodstream and it takes care of your immune system everywhere, but in particular excess, and the excess means getting over 6 to 8 or 10, it goes to your skin and it will take care of the problem. On top of that, you'll find out that you won't sunburn very easily. How about that?
Sounds perfect to me. Not having that disease, of course, I must admit, or having that symptom, I don't think I would like to be having it, that's for sure. So thank you for that. The next question is from Kathy Gregory, who's on here and has a client who's has had to have open heart surgery and have been asked to stop all supplements. They're going to have open heart surgery, sorry, and going to be on a heart-lung machine for 40 minutes, and it's going through the sternum, and they're just wanting to know that are they able to continue taking EMULIN M? Or is that one of those supplements that they need to stop altogether? And also they need an angiogram, and just wanting to know basically some ideas as to whether EMULINs should be stopped prior to, or can they continue to go right through pre and post surgery?
Fairly common question. So the problem is with the quercetin. Quercetin is onion. It's in onions and quercetin is everywhere, but it's real high amounts in onion and garlic. And most surgeons will ask you to not take garlic and onions about a week before you're going to have surgery because they do cause blood thinning. And why in the world would something nice, you know, like you say, Dr. Ahrens, this is, you told us you want a healthy diet and it's thin in my blood. Well, yes, it's supposed to. On a healthy diet, every piece of food not only gives you energy and it not only gives you protein to build muscles, but it manages all the functions in your body. Every food is a functional food. We used to think that functional foods were special, like an orange, because it has vitamin C. So it's like taking a medicine. Some of these things are even called medicinal foods. But actually, every food is a functional food. And if you had the right amount of the apples and oranges and all good things, carrots and actually, yes, onions and garlic, you know, wow, that's pretty good chef to have all that stuff. So it is essential for you to have good health, and it keeps your blood from sticking together. And I do believe that if you had a good diet and it had enough quercetin in it, when you got older, you wouldn't have blood clots. You wouldn't have a stroke. You get a stroke because you get a blood clot in your brain. Where'd that blood clot come from? People don't ask that. Well, where did that? And an MD or surgeon say, well, you know, you get these blood clots and we're there to get rid of them. Hey, don't get them in the first place. Have a good diet. Keep your blood loose and open and your capillaries flexible and permeable. But if you're going to have surgery, it's a good thing that you don't bleed to death. So don't take any blood thinners before that, and lay off the quercetin, which is in onions, and it's in EMULIN. Particularly, it's more in EMULIN M than C. Get off of it a week ahead. Stay off of it. I just go a week before and a week after. Get off of it. Now, as soon as you can, get back on it, because it's been shown that the components in EMULIN help wound healing and whatever surgery it was, including heart surgery, even organ transplants. Organ transplants will help. So stay off of a week ahead. Keep off of it a week behind to let that initial knitting take place at the wounds, and then get right back on the EMULIN.
So Jackie,
thank you, Dr. Ahrens.
Jackie,
yes.
that Pat, the person that we're talking about, is on the call right now. Is she able to ask questions right now if she has any extra or not?
Can we get that through into an email? Kathy, is that all right? I've got about 3 to get through before we finish, if that's okay. Yeah. So Dr. Ahrens, we've got Rita who's asked about mast cell activation syndrome. Her inflammatory levels, so again, inflammation is high. With this particular condition, what would you suggest in regards to dosage?
Wow. Well, you know, really, we're only talking about 2 dosages here. And anytime I say take 6, take 8, you know, I usually just pull those numbers right out of the air because you like me to say it seems specialized. But it's really only 2 doses. A maintenance dose, which we've calculated for the average size person with the average diet, they need to take 500 milligrams a day. That's just average. If you have any problem at all, I would tell you if you could take 10, but that'd be a wasting. So I say, okay, take 6. That's somewhere in the middle. You should take 2 for maintenance, take 6, take 8. And because you've got a problem, and this is a food, it's used up in the process. If you got to repair your body, it's going to use those in the process, so you need more. Also, people, you know, that different weights. If you weigh 1 or 200 kilograms, you need a whole lot more. So I would take 6 or 8, 10 if you could stand it, but 6 or 8, and absolutely mast cell. That's just this inflammation right there. That's what's going on there. Her body's out of control.
Okay, thank you. This is actually from Dr. Ron Bosima, and he's just wondering, what's your experience in regards to using EMULIN for somebody with poison ivy?
What?
What is your experience with somebody that has had poison ivy and using EMULIN with that condition, or that having the experience of has the ill effects of being near poison ivy?
Any of those things, you know, it doesn't matter from a medical standpoint if it's a chemical or the oil that's in poison ivy or a bee sting or a splinter or a broken bone. They're all insults that trigger the inflammatory system. And some people, though, are specifically over allergic to these oils and even bee stings. Absolutely. It will be reduced. You'll see that a great reduction by taking M. I just massively, I'd even put it and take it apart and rub it on the skin, you know, and take as much as you can, because I just told you that it will flood through to the skin if you take large amounts. I personally, it's a wound. It doesn't matter if it's chemical or physical. On the molecular level, this is all the same. Whether you cut yourself with a knife, which releases chemicals in your bloodstream, or you have a poison in there, it's an insult to the body, and you turn on the inflammatory system. And I would think one day we'll probably have a topical EMULIN, but take as much as you can right away. If you got into the poison ivy, any of these things, anything that you use calamine lotion for, rub it on the skin. Make a paste of some type of a fat, like a butter or coconut butter. Rub it right on the skin, but it might be all over the place. Take as much as you can. Flood it to the skin. You'll see it'll cut it the time at least in half for that, and inflammation will go away.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, this is quite an interesting one because I wasn't sure if we were going to ask it, but you were quite happy for me to do this. Is from Michelle, and this is in regards to a Java macaque monkey. And they're using EMULIN C for this monkey who has severe diabetes. She's a rehome, so basically they're monitoring what they're doing with this with the monkey with diabetes, and they're giving her 2 EMULIN 12 hours apart, 1 p.m. and 1 p.m. And they're just wondering, they have had great success from 3 insulin shots a day. One, but what are your thoughts in regards to treating this monkey with EMULIN C?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't monkey around with this science. It's real stuff. But, you know, it's a mammal. We are mammals. If you look at the patents behind EMULIN, it talks about mammals. It doesn't talk about humans. Mammals, we're almost all the same. Heck, you can even transplant pig hearts into humans, and you can put pig valves into human hearts. Diabetes was actually first discovered in dogs. that was one, there was flies were congregating under dog urine. And the scientists that discovered that said, well, there's a lot of sugar in this urine from that dog, and found out, hey, that dog got diabetes. Diabetes was first discovered in another mammal, not a human. And monkeys, which are close cousin, and probably your closer cousin than mine, but these monkeys can have the same diseases we have. Yes, look at the weight of that monkey and give them about and a normal human, and just adjust it by weight. Go ahead and take them 2 or 4. You can give them to them all at one time. You don't have to split it up. Once the body is saturated, you're on the right track. And actually, I don't monkey around with that answer at all. It's really good. People love their pets and animals, and I don't know if it's going to help a bird, but mammals, yes, cats, dogs, walruses, porpoises, mammals, they have the same glucogenic system.
Thank you for that. So I'm just going to breeze through these ones, because my general understanding, after being very blessed and privileged to be able to be an advocate for EMULIN and for my own personal use, Dr. Ahrens, but we're looking at melasma, we're looking at prostate cancer, we're looking at a 4-year-old with eczema, we're looking at a baby that's got eczema, rashes, we've got somebody that's recovering from, that's had a fallen down 20 stairs. Am I right in saying this? And we're looking at EMULIN with a hormone imbalance, premenopause, and just asking as to whether EMULIN and 24/7 is going to assist all of these symptoms, I will say, rather than conditions. Can you give a general just overview for all of that so we can finish today's call, please?
Look, no matter what your problem is, and even if you don't have any problem, everybody needs EMULIN. So people say, is it good for this? Is it good for that? Yeah, it's good for everything. Your body needs to be in its best health so it can tackle these individual problems. Secondly, just about everything you named here is an autoimmune response, which is an inflammatory issue. It's back to regulating the immune system. I think if we had enough of this stuff in our diet, we wouldn't have any of these diseases, these symptoms. We would be already okay, but we don't get enough, so our body eventually just breaks down. We don't eat how we should. We can't. There's not enough. Hormones are the same way. Get your body tuned up so it can do its best. And then if you have a hormone issue, you have less of an issue. Babies, cradle to grave. Give EMULIN to a baby based on weight. If you take 4, maybe you ought to give a baby half. After they start taking solid food, their body's ready to do it. Their immune system shifts over from the mother, while internal, to usually mother's milk, through the milk, and then eventually develops its own as it starts taking on solid food. That's the time to do it. My own granddaughter now, some of you have followed her throughout her young life. She takes it mixed right into her breakfast. Whatever she's eating, we actually break a capsule over and mix it up in her scrambled eggs or whatever. Or if you say, well, I don't want to break it down, don't break it down. Get a glass of juice or milk and make a full glass of milk or a bottle of milk and break the EMULIN in there, and then give a couple of ounces or milliliters a day throughout the day. That's how you can get down to small doses. Well, this has been great. And I thank you. And I look forward. We have maybe, once a month. I'm sorry that we can't answer everything. We've already gone 10 minutes over our time limit, but we'll try to answer questions on our sites, our Facebook pages, etc. And we can talk about more and in the future.
Dr. Ahrens, I really want to thank you so much on behalf of everybody that's here, and for those that watch this call in their own time following this, because your information that you provide to us is just absolutely invaluable. And one of my favorite sayings is, invest time in your health before your health invests all of your time. And what we have with EMULIN is truly a gift given to us by you. So I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for that, on behalf of myself and for everybody else. I want to thank everybody that has given us their questions today, and we have addressed pretty much everybody's. If you're not content with everything, please just email it. I put the email into the chat line there. So I'd like to thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Ahrens, for joining this call. And I want to finish it off just to say to you, we are only talking about people's symptoms here, not conditions. We are not aiming to cure, heal, and or fix anything. All we're looking to do is to address people's symptoms through the use of what EMULIN can do as a plant-based supplement and for what it can actually assist you with, as in with 24/7 layering it on top of as well or on its own. So just remember that when you do share this, we want to try and protect this and stay compliant so that we, going forward, we've got something really special here with Dr. Ahrens with EMULIN and 24/7, and we all know it. So for those of you that do watch this, going forward, you'll understand why we are addressing your questions in this manner. So thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens. Did you want to finish off with anything before we complete tonight's call?
Well, I look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll handle a topic that is really important to everyone. That's really what we're trying to do here, is we are addressing specific topics, and such as, you know, sports injuries and weight loss be another one, but also question and answers. And we'd like to get other, we have colleagues that, you know, you don't have to just listen to me. We like to have guest colleagues on that have specialties, but these colleagues are special because they've lived that problem. They're not just in the ivory tower. They're people that have the knowledge and their professional credentials, and they've been where you are. So we're going to have them on too and have a bunch of variety. Thank you, everyone. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens, and thank you everybody for joining us today.